Hello, everyone. My name is Mona Nasr. I'm a postgraduate student at the University of Tasmania studying global logistics and supply chain management. And today I will discuss about K-curve methodology in inventory management. As you can see today's presentation outline, I'll provide a brief explanation on EOQ model and its weaknesses, Pareto model and its weaknesses. Then I explain about history of K-curve methodology and how to develop it. And to conclude, I give a brief explanation of interpretation of K-curve. So what is economic order quantity or EOQ? Economic order quantity was initially developed by Ford W. Harris in 1913 and has undergone continuous refinement and adaptation to suit various business contexts. It helps businesses to make decisions about how much inventory to order or produce to maintain cost-effective and efficient inventory levels. It represents the ideal or optimal quantity of items that a company should purchase or produce to meet customer demand while minimizing various costs associated with inventory management. These costs include holding or carrying costs, shortage costs, and ordering or setup expenses. EOQ is a calculation that helps businesses strike a balance between two key opposing forces. One, holding costs, which are incurred by holding or carrying inventory in storage. These costs include expenses like warehousing, insurance, and the capital tied up in inventory. Two, ordering costs. The cost incurred each time an order is placed or a production setup is initiated. These costs involve expenses related to order processing, transportation, and setup. The primary objective of EOQ is to determine the order quantity that minimizes the total of these two types of costs. EOQ is a valuable tool because it enables companies to avoid overstocking, which can lead to high holding costs, and prevent stockout or shortages, which can result in lost sales and customer dissatisfaction. It's also important to note that EOQ operates under certain assumptions, including the assumption that factors such as demand, ordering costs, and holding costs remain relatively stable over time, while this assumption may not hold true in all real-world scenarios. As you can see the formula of EOQ, we can see main factors here, which is D as annual demand quantity, C as cost of ordering, P as unit cost, and I as inventory holding rate as percentage. Later, we will go to Excel file and we will calculate everything by this formula. Now, let's discuss about weaknesses of EOQ. EOQ assumes that the demand for an item remains constant over time. In reality, demand can fluctuate due to seasonal patterns, market trends, or unexpected events. This assumption may not hold true for businesses with highly variable demand. Constant cost. EOQ assumes that the costs associated with inventory management, including holding cost and ordering cost, remain constant, which in practice, costs can change due to inflation market conditions or changes in suppliers' terms. Additionally, EOQ assumes that there are no discounts or incentives for ordering larger quantities. In many cases, suppliers offer discounts for bulk orders, which the EOQ model does not consider. To use EOQ model effectively, businesses need accurate data on demand rates, holding costs, including storage, insurance, and capital costs, and ordering costs, including processing and transportation expenses. Obtaining this data can be challenging, especially for new and rapidly changing products. EOQ also may not be suitable for all types of businesses and products. For example, it may not work well for items with highly variable demand, perishable goods with limited shelf life, or products subject to seasonal fluctuations. In such cases, alternative inventory management approaches may be needed. Also, in fast-paced and rapidly changing markets, the assumption underlying the EOQ model may become outdated quickly. For example, if demand patterns shift frequently or suppliers change their pricing structure, the EOQ calculated for one period may not be optimal for the next. This dynamic nature of market can make EOQ less effective. Moreover, the classic EOQ model assumes that there are no restrictions on the order quantity, allowing for large batch orders, which in real-world scenarios, some items may be perishable or have limited shelf life, which means that ordering large quantities might lead to wastage. Additionally, there may be limitations in terms of available warehouse or storage space that cap the order size. The EOQ model assumes that the stockouts are not allowed, meaning that all demands can be met at all times. In certain situations, it may be more cost-effective or practical to allow for back orders when there is unexpected demand or delays in supply. Allowing back orders can be beneficial if the cost of back ordering is substantially lower than maintaining excess inventory to prevent stockouts. The EOQ model assumes that all items are perfect and that there is no wastage. In reality, production processes may result in imperfect items due to various constraints, and some items might perish or expire if they remain in inventory beyond their shelf life. The classic EOQ model does not account for these imperfections and potential wastages. Let's have an example to have better understanding of this matter. Imagine a grocery store that sells fresh fruits and vegetables. Let's focus on a specific item, strawberries. Classic EOQ model assumption provides that the classic model, the constant unit cost for strawberries, regardless of the order quantity. It also assumes that the strawberries are perfect and have an indefinite shelf life. Reality is opposite. In practice, the strawberries have a limited shelf life, typically a few days or week. They are highly perishable and can spoil quickly due to factors like temperature, humidity, and handling during transportation and storage. Now, let's consider how the classic EOQ model might lead to issue in this scenario. According to the EOQ model, the store would calculate an optimal order quantity based on factors like demand, holding cost, and ordering cost. Let's say it determines that the optimal order quantity for strawberries is 500 pounds. The store allows for the EOQ recommendation and order 500 pounds of strawberries. However, strawberries have a short shelf life and it's challenging to sell all of them before they spoil. Due to the perishable nature of strawberries, some of the inventory might not be sold before it becomes unsellable, resulting in wastage and financial loss. Additionally, if the store sticks to the fixed unit cost assumption, it may miss out the potential discounts from supplier for ordering a smaller for manageable quantities or for taking into account the perishability factor. In this example, the classic EOQ model's assumption of perfect items with no consideration for perishability results in potential wastage and financial loss. Now, let's discuss about Pareto model. The Pareto model, also known as the 80-20 rule or the Pareto principle, is an approach to analysis and decision-making based on the observation that a significant proportion of effects or outcomes, approximately 80%, are typically generated by a relatively small portion of causes or inputs, approximately 20%. This principle is named after economist Vilfredo Pareto, who made this observation in 1906. In the context of inventory management and business, the Pareto model is often applied to classify and prioritize items, customers, or efforts based on their significance or impact. It suggests that a small percentage of items, customers, or efforts are responsible for the majority results of outcomes. As a result, businesses can focus their resources and efforts on the most critical factors that contribute to their success. Now, let's have a look on this model's weaknesses. The Pareto model typically divides inventory items into three main groups based on their annual spends, A, B, and C. However, this level of categorization may not provide sufficient detail for many businesses. In some cases, businesses may need more than three groups to effectively manage their inventory, which can complicate decision-making. The model divides items into classes based on fixed percentage thresholds, for example, 80-20 and 95-50. This approach can force a very bad percentage of items into each class, regardless of whether it's appropriate for each item's characteristic. Similar to the EOQ model, the Pareto model assumes that demand for items constant over 12 months. In reality, demand can vary significantly by quarter or season. Another weakness is that this model primarily focuses on annual spending as the sole criteria for classification items. It may not take into account other important characteristics such as lead time, criticality, volatility of demand, or perishability, which can significantly impact inventory management decisions. The fixed percentage thresholds used in the Pareto model can be inflexible. Businesses may have unique needs and preferences that don't align with these percentages, making it challenging to tailor the classification to their specific requirements. Pareto's emphasis on the important few and the low value many can lead to overgeneralization. Some items that fall into the same class may have vastly different characteristics, and treating them the same way can result in suboptimal inventory management. Additionally, this model may not be well suited for businesses operating in dynamic environments where demand patterns, market conditions, and product portfolios change frequently. It may not adapt well to shifts in demand or product characteristics. K-curve methodology. This methodology initially developed as a part of PhD by Shah, 1992, in collaboration with inventory planning team at IBM's manufacturing plant in the UK. The response to a question asking what does it cost to place an order led the researchers to troubleshoot the actual error in the process. K-curve offers a solution to inventory management by keeping the value of 2C divided by I constant in the EOQ model equation while varying the parameter K within a range from 1 to 100. Higher K values may lead to larger order quantities but fewer transactions, while lower K values may result in smaller order quantities but more frequent transactions. The goal of the K-curve methodology is to find the optimal K value for each inventory item, taking into account factors such as demand patterns, cost, and constraints. This optimization helps strike a balance between carrying cost, ordering cost, and the risk of stockout or excess inventory. Generating K-curve methodology has three main steps, which are expressing the EOQ as an economic period, building a bridge between Pareto and economic order period, and the variation of K to create an exchange curve. Before going into Excel file, let's have a brief look at the EOQ and EOP calculations and formulas. Value class and class limit. So why we have these value class and class limits? Even after simplifying EOP in days, setting order sizes to decimal values like Decimal values like 11.45 or 32.80 did not yield accuracy. By using annual demand value versus EOP on logarithm scale, practical order sizes such as 5, 10, 20, 40, 80, and 160 days is achieved. Rounding off can be done by calculating midpoint class boundaries. Value class range from 1 to 6 or as many as needed. Class limits is calculated by W in K divided by E1 in time E2, where E1 and E2 are midpoint ranges. For example, between 5 and 10, 10 and 20, and so on. If cycle days equals to 0, then class limit formula will return 0 value. So let's discuss why we choose K-curve methodology. What are the advantages of K-curve methodology? Setting class boundaries and allocating items within these classes is a straightforward process in this approach. This means that we can easily categorize your inventory items into different classes based on their characteristic, such as importance, demand, or value. This simplicity of this classification process allows to effective organization and management of your inventory. One notable feature is that the flexibility in choosing the order frequency for different classes for items. Unlike rigid inventory management systems, this approach allows you to adapt to your specific needs. You can practically create as many classes as necessary until a predefined class limit is reached. This adaptability ensures that your inventory management strategy aligns precisely with your business requirements, accommodating variations in item importance and demand. In contrast to traditional ABC analysis, where classification are typically static, this approach allows the parameter K value to vary and fluctuate. The K value represents a key factor in inventory management decisions. By permitting K to change over time, the system can adapt to changing circumstances, such as shift in demand patterns, cost structures, or market dynamics. The dynamic K value ensures that your inventory management strategy remains relevant and effective in evolving business environments. This inventory management approach excels in dynamic environments characterized by short product lifecycle and evolving market demands. In such setting, traditional inventory management models like ABC analysis may struggle to keep pace with changing conditions. However, the flexibility of this approach, including the ability to adjust K values and reorder frequencies, make it well suited to rapidly changing markets. It allows businesses to respond effectively to shifts in customer preferences, market trends, and product life cycles. In a sense, this approach offers a versatile and adaptable way to manage inventory, making it an excellent choice for businesses operating in fast-changing industries or dealing with products subject to short life cycles. It empowers the business to optimize inventory management strategies to align precisely with their unique needs and the realities of their dynamic markets. Now, let's go to provide an example in Excel. So now, according to the data we got from inventory management, we have part number, annual usage or demand, and cost per part. As you can see, we consider constant K as 30 and working days as 250. So to calculate EOP and EOQ, now here I attached a picture of formulas here. So first, to calculate annual demand value here. Right, it's here, annual demand value. So let's see this formula. The formula is annual demand quantity times by cost per unit, which is going to be 210.76. After that, we're gonna, here, EOQ. We're gonna just calculate EOQ. As you can see, here is the formula. And here also we have the formula of EOQ here, which is 2 times by D times by C divided by P times by I. And here, K, here is 30, as you can see. Here is K times by annual demand, which is 11, is going to be 4.0. Oh, and divided by cost per part. What to tell you this? So it's going to be 4.15 here. After that, you should calculate EOP here. EOP in years. Considering this formula, which is a square root of K times by D divided by P divides by D, which is going to be 30 times by 11. Sorry, a square root of 30 times by 11 divided by 1916 divided by 11, which is going to be 0.38. And after that, the simplified EOP, as you can see here in this picture also, simplified EOP is going to be the square root of K divided by A, which here K is 30, and A, which is annual demand value, is 210.76 here. Annual demand value. And it's going to be same as EOP in years, EOP simplified. And after that, we're going to calculate EOP in days, which is going to be working days times by the square root of K divided by A. And it's going to be 250 times by a square root of 30 divided by 210.76. And it's going to be 94.32. Now we need to calculate the average inventory. Average inventory, and you can see the formula here and in this picture as well, which is 0.5 times by EOP times by A divided by W, which is working days. Here is going to be 0.5 times by 94.32 times by 19.16, which is going to be 903.59. And for number of deliveries, and as you can see in this picture, you can see the formula, which is working days divided by EOP. Here is going to be 250 divided by 94.32, and it's going to be 2.65. Now we are going to calculate everything, and in each steps, we consider K, as you can see here in the sheets, K1, K5, K10, K20, 30, 40, 60, 80, and 100. So for the first sheet, now we have constant K as 1, working days 250. So to calculate annual spend value, we know that the formula is, you can see here in the formula box, the formula is annual usage or demand times by cost per part. For the first part number, it's going to be 180 times by this number, which is cost per part, this number, and here we have annual spend at 0.00180. And then we drag this formula for all the way down here for all, you can see 200 products we have. EOQ, here also you can see in the picture the formula, and in the above box here we have the formula. Formula is the square root of K times by D divided by P. For the first item is going to be here, as you can see, 67808.04. And then we need to calculate EOP in days. So EOP in days, it should be here, you can see in the picture the formula, W times by the square root of K divided by A, which here is 250 times by the square root of 1 divided by 210.76, and it's gonna be, it's gonna be for second one, for part number 02, it's gonna be 70.22, because the number here, annual spend, has it was a bit tricky, so we calculate the second one, which is 250 times by a square root of the square root of 1, which is K, divided by 210.76, which is annual demand, annual spend demand. And it's going to be 70.22. So, and here, as you can see, we have value class, cycle days, and class limits. We considered 9 value classes here, and for calculating class limits, we'll divide the sorted items into the desired number of classes, which are 9 here. The class limits are essentially the values that separate one class from the next. Here we can divide the items into equal intervals based on our criteria. And here you can see the formula here. And we have reached this number as class limits. So then we go to number of orders. Number of orders. As you can see, the formula for number of orders is working days divided by cycle days. Cycle days, here you can see the cycle days. And it's going to be 250 divided by 160, which is the cycle days, as you can see here. So for the first part number, it's going to be 1.56. And then we go to average inventory. For average inventory, as you can see in this picture, the formula is 0.5 times by cycle days times by D times by W times by P. And here you can see the formula here in the above. It's going to be 0.00058 because of this number here. And then we drag the formula till the end. And in the end, we have the total here. So we continue this for K5, K10, K20, 30, 40, 60, 80, and 100. And in the last sheet, here are the results, which are very important. Somehow is interpretation of K-curve. After getting these numbers, number of orders and average inventory for each K from 1 to 100, then we can have this curve, which we call it K-curve. And then we can decide which number of orders is perfect for our inventory management. For example, for K or K30, number of orders are about 3167.19, which is around here. Number of orders here, we found it. And average inventory is 51011.8, which is about here. Then we should reach to the best number of orders for each product. Hope you liked this presentation. Thank you so much for listening.